Hello, I'm Dr. David A. Padgett, and today I'm going to walk you through the assignment Exploring Geographic Information Systems using ArcGIS Online, Critical Issue, Controversial Landmarks. And so each of you should be assigned a city prior to starting off on this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Now, I'm going to warn you that I'm doing this live. I might make mistakes. I might make a mistake or two. And so that is because you might make mistakes. And so if I make a mistake, I'll show you how to work out of that mistake if that happens. Hopefully things will go smoothly. So you have the assignment. I'm going to share my screen. And so here is the assignment. Exploring Geographic Information Systems using ArcGIS Online, Critical Issue, Controversial Public Landmarks. And so as many of you know, there has been a period of unrest, primarily led by the many movements, including the Black Lives Matter movement. And myself, I just participated in the Commitment March in Washington, D.C., which is a culmination of a lot of feelings, a lot of frustration amongst not only just African Americans, but a lot of people that believe that we need change away from the status quo. And part of this controversy, in the midst of this controversy, are the symbols of the past, of the racialized past of the United States of America, specifically Confederate statues. And I want to show you something interesting now. So just last week, there was a Hurricane Laura swept through the Gulf Coast region, very devastating storm. I don't mean to make light of that situation at all. My thoughts and prayers go out to those who have lost their property and more importantly, who've lost their lives and loved ones during this event. However, there was an interesting story that I saw connected to the hurricane where the hurricane actually dismantled this Confederate statue after local officials voted to keep it secure. And so this is in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I'm sure that you've seen on the news in cities all over the United States, not Mother Nature in this case, but humans tearing these statues down. And so there are many controversial, what may be deemed controversial landmarks in cities all over the United States. There might be schools named after Confederate generals. There might be parks, statues, and we could go on and on and on. And so what we're going to do is examine this issue using geographic information systems while also learning a little bit of something about how to use ArcGIS Online. You will use ArcGIS Online in your coursework. This exercise just gives you a little bit of a hands-on experience with the software, and perhaps it will foster thought on this controversial issue. Okay, so you have the instructions. So first we're going to open this link. Let's see if it'll open for me. And this should take us right into the assignment itself. So here we are there. So that was working so far. Exploring GIS maps. So again, this is basically a tutorial that I have edited a little bit. And so you also have the instructions here. So we've done that, launch on the course button. And so the course now is open. Now follow the course instructions to create your own ArcGIS online account. And so you will go here and hit launch course. And then now this is asking me to sign in. And so you will simply walk through their very simple instructions for creating your own ArcGIS Online public account. It's not difficult. It doesn't cost you any money. And so, because I already have an ArcGIS Online account, I'm already logged in. You should just walk through that process. After you do, you will be brought to this page where you will sign in to your account. And so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to sign into, go to my account, and I'm going to log in. Well, I'm already logged in. So I'm already in the course. So when you follow the instructions, it will take you to the course itself. And the first section that you'll get to is, what is GIS? You click there. And so this first part of the assignment, notice, is just basically reading, location in your everyday life. And so these reading assignments will give you just some basic background in mapping and map location and map densities. And this is really a crash course in cartography, okay? Now you should pay close attention to this section, because at the end of this course, there's going to be, of course, an exam. And so you should pay close attention to that. Okay, so that portion of the course, as it says, read the instructions. What is GIS? Geography is key. GIS maps and mapping the earth. It's just simple, basic reading. So next we'll get to this exercise called Name That Place. You can see it right here. So you have activities 1 through 4, you completed those. Now you get to name that place. Okay, so name that place, we get to here where it says explore the map, and it says click the link to the following to open the story, name that place. Okay, so you click there, and you get into the name that place, exploring maps, and then you just move through this section of the assignment. And it says, click your mouse pointer on the map in any location. Just to give you some idea of how to walk through the assignment itself. Oops, it looks like I clicked away from where I was, and this will happen to you. Let's see how we get back to where we left off. Okay, there we go. So when you lose your place, just don't panic. Just move through these portions of the assignment. Okay, so now we'll scroll through, and it says name that place. How many of these places can you identify? Okay, now we're at 1. Can you name this place? What are the dark features that you see on the map? Okay, and then you will, so we're at slide 1. Let's move on to slide 2. So you simply click here, and of course, those are the Great Lakes, of course, as you probably knew that already. Let's go down to the next slide. Okay, what major landmark is this marked by the red pen? And then you will type your answer here. So you'll click on that red pen, type your answer there. Then we'll move to slide 3. Okay, now you just keep going. Slide 3, what major United States landmark is located here? Click on the pen to get the answer, and then type your answer here, and you will keep moving through the slides until you get to the end. So hopefully you're getting the idea of how to and here you to zoom in on, can you identify what these small scattered figures are? So what are those? What do you see there? Here at slide 3, and then for slide 3, you'll click there to get the answer for slide 3, and then you will keep moving through those first set of questions, and you just keep going, and then you just click on these for your answers, and then what is this land? Now we're at slide 5. Slide 5 is what is this landscape? So as you can see, I'm going to have to fix this assignment on the fly. Just take a few moments. This is exactly why we do this. Mistakes can be made, but don't worry, we can fix them very quickly, just like that. Okay, so now we're at slide 5. What is this landscape? And so you have choices. Is it city, farmland, mountains? Type your answer right there. And then we go to slide 6. Can you name this place? Maybe you have to zoom out. Try not to go too far out to give away the answer. Slide 6, and then slide 7, discussion on the answers you found. So just in this part at letter G, just type, what do you think about the answer? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts in terms of how this software could be used to solve problems, and so on and so forth. Then you just move on to, again, slide 7. Again, can you name this place? Type your answer there. And then, of course, you move on to the next slide. And then that completes this section. Okay, so of course there is no slide 8. So I'm going to get that out of there so that we have an intelligible assignment. Now, when we get to the next section of the assignment, and you just have to get used to navigating. And the next section of the assignment is understanding scale. So I know that this is not the most intuitive way to work through an assignment, but just be patient. Now we're to understanding scale. So you're just clicking through these sections. Now scale is a very important concept in mapping. And so as you're just simply reading through this section, and then you will move on to the section representing the real world with GIS. And these are just simply videos that you'll watch, then go on to the next part, and so on and so forth. You don't go to the quiz until after you've watched the video. They've kind of got that locked down. And so now we'll go back to, now we're able to move on to making maps. And then, what is a web map? And then you'll just, read through this section. What is a base map? Read through this section, and just try to pay as close attention as you can. There's a lot to go through there. And then you'll get to the exercise of making your first map. Okay. And so now we'll go and just follow these instructions in your web browser. Go to ArcGIS Online, and then you'll sign in. I should already be signed in. And like I said, if things, okay, so, well, I'm not signed in. So I'll sign in. I already have an account. And so I'll sign in. And so here's what the program will look like when you first sign in. Okay, so you're signed in, and now we just simply have to bounce back and forth between the instructions and say we signed in. In the field type, it says make your first map. Go back here, back to the instructions. In the search field type, make your first map. Okay. So we're in the program. Here's a search. Okay, make your first map. And here we go. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of a deviation, a detour here. It says here that some of these, some cities are already bookmarked. So we're not going to use these bookmarked cities. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a detour. So you'll type the city that you were assigned here. So I'm just going to type, in my case, Baltimore, because that's my hometown. And then I'm going to go to the search bar again, and I'm going to, first let me open the map. And then in the search bar, I'm going to type Baltimore. Baltimore, Maryland, USA, my hometown. Notice that the map navigates to my hometown. And so that's what you see here. And then you should take a screenshot of your map and place it in the space here. So I'm going to do that. Leave that there. So a screenshot is simply where if you have a PC, it's pretty easy. You just find the print screen button on your keyboard, hit print screen, and then you can simply take that screenshot and then hit paste, and it pastes it right into the page, just like that. Then you might want to save that. Okay, so now you have that saved. Now you have to answer a series of questions. Which base map is displayed? So hopefully in your reading, you notice that there are several different types of base maps at your disposal. And so the base map displayed here is imagery. So that's the imagery base map. It's basically a remote sense, a satellite image taken from space of Baltimore in this case. So then you would type in, and who knows what your ArcGIS online program might point to a different base map. Just type in the base map there. In this case, it is imagery. And then you'll keep going. What features are visible on the map? And so features are items or objects on the map. So if you zoom in, here's the zoom tool. And so what do you see? You see buildings, roads, water, a stadium. So maybe you might see other things, trees. So as many features as you can point out, just type them, what features are visible. Now change the base map, very easy. So we're gonna change the base map here. Go here, I'm gonna change the base map to streets. And notice it changes. Now the question is, which features are labeled on the map? And so every map has labels. And so if you zoom in, notice that here we have a subway station that's labeled. Here's some buildings that are labeled. Clearly you have labels on the streets. There is just various places that are labeled. You might even think of specific buildings that are labeled. Baltimore Convention Center. That might be a good thing to label. That way I will, or your instructor will know that you definitely took a look at your map. So be more specific here. Be specific about what you see labeled on the map so that your instructor will know that you did examine the map instead of just making generalizations about what is on the map. And then you choose another base map and go through the same thing. When we ask what features are emphasized on the map here, let's say we go to topographic maps. And so some of what are featured on this topographic map, which is a map of topography or elevation. We're like in the city, we might not really see. Okay, so here's Druid Hill Park in Baltimore. Here's Patapsco Valley State Park. So those are some of the features that are emphasized on a topographic map. If you zoom out a little bit farther, you don't want to go out too far. Let's see what else is emphasized on this map. Some parks, obviously some smaller locales. Let's see. But different maps are going to have different features that are really stand out. And you're going to have to think about, what type of map that you choose, and then what features of those are labeled. Now, number 12, you're asked to specifically pick out the National Geographic base map. And so you go back into the instructions. Okay, so you notice that in the instructions here, basically, I have taken these instructions and put them into the Word document. So try not to get confused. You want to start to follow just follow the instructions from the Word document primarily when you get to this point. And so you're zooming in and zooming out, learning how to use these map features. At this point, you're asked to specifically use the National Geographic base map here. And so obviously, as you can see, different base maps have different levels of utility and different levels of specificity. And so now you will follow the instructions, same thing, zoom in, zoom out. Like I said, you might try to be more specific about some of the features that you see labeled. Now, clearly the National Geographic base map has a lot of detail. And so here we have Interstate 695, perhaps would be a good specific feature. Fort McHenry Tunnel, zoom in even more here. Fort McHenry National Monument, some schools here, neighborhoods, start to see neighborhoods pop up, Highlandtown, South Baltimore, those would be some other features, parks, and just navigate around your city and just find some other things. Now, you're going to be assigned a city, and so it might be a little bit more difficult for you to find some landmarks, but just be patient. Just think of some things that just jump out at you, maybe some things you're interested in. If you like to shop, you might look for all the shopping centers or some shopping centers. And so again, you'll just follow the instructions, and you'll type your answers right into this Word document, okay? And then finally, you should jump back into the course instructions. And so the course instructions take you to find a landmark or place. Now, this is when we get to the heart of the assignment here. And so let's just stick with the So stick with the stick with these assignments. Stick with these. Okay, so now you will use Google Maps, or maybe you know the city. Look for a potentially controversial landmark in the city. So I'm going to walk through that process for Baltimore. And like I said, this is from memory. So you go to the search bar here, and maybe you might type in a name like Robert E. Lee. So I'm going to type in Robert E. Lee. Oh, there's Robert E. Lee Park in Towson, Maryland, which is a little bit outside of Baltimore, but it's in the urban area. It doesn't have to be exactly inside the city. And so we had Robert E. Lee Park. Now, one interesting point of information about this park is that it's been renamed. It's no longer Robert E. Lee Park. But notice it's still in this map database, which is somewhat of a teachable lesson in that a map is a snapshot in time. And we have to pay very close attention to when a map is created, including with geographic information systems, the date that the data in the attribute data table was created, because that data table is maintained by human beings. You know, if you create a data table that becomes an attribute table that is connected to a geographic information system, the GIS map, that is what's seen on the map. Okay, it's what's in the data table. So really, when you're looking at a GIS map, you're not just looking at a static map, you're looking at a map of information that is embedded in the map itself, and that information is embedded by human beings. And we know that no human being is perfect. Human beings make mistakes, and somebody clearly did not remove Robert E. Lee Park from this map. Now, is that some kind of controversy? I don't know. But this park has, in years past, been renamed. This is no longer Robert E. Lee Park, but notice it's clearly on this map. Excellent teachable moment. Okay, so once you find your controversial landmark, you just type it in here. I found Robert E. Lee Park. And then, why might this landmark be deemed controversial? That's an open-ended question. And many things can be controversial that you might not think are controversial. For example, what about a Malcolm X Park or Malcolm X School? You might not think that's controversial, but would others? Perhaps they might. So when we think of the term controversial, I'm not speaking in terms of what you might think is controversial, or what might anybody think is controversial, just in general. Somebody might think a street named after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is controversial, right? So be open-minded about what is controversial, because once we start to get in terms of, or in the practice of renaming, tearing things down, right? You have to think about that. Okay, there's some people that are just perfectly fine with Confederate generals for whatever reason, right? Other people are not. Some people are perfectly fine with a Malcolm X Boulevard. Obviously, some people might not be. And so think about that. I want you to put some thought into that answer to that question. And then share your thoughts about what action should be taken regarding the landmark you selected. Maybe leave it be. Maybe there's some are suggesting that some of these Confederate statues specifically should be put in a museum. So it's not to erase history, but if you think in terms of the Confederate statues, you know, they were really placed there to send a message, right? It wasn't as if they were really there as some form of commemoration. It was to send a message that, you know, we still hold certain beliefs that were held perhaps during times of slavery. And that might not be a message that is popular today. And we live in a society where things are fluid, things are dynamic, things change about how we feel about people and events and policies. These are all things that change from time to time or over time. And so I really want you to put some thought into that question. Okay, so once you okay, so once you get to this point, you should go back to the instructions. I'm trying to get to them as we speak without closing out the whole program. And then just simply, okay, here it is. Now we'll mark the landmark with a map note. Sorry about that. You will mark the location. So in the map at the bottom of the search result pop-up window, click add to map notes. We're going to go to the search results pop-up window. And see where it says add to map notes here. We're going to click on that. And then under map notes, notice we have Robert E. Lee Park saved as a map note. Very simple to do. Then after you have that park saved as a map note, now if you really want to get sophisticated, you can go here and then rename this from map notes to, in this case, Robert E. Lee Park. And so that's something that you can do. Click OK. And now notice that Robert E. Lee Park appears on your map as a map note that someone else can find. Then after that point, after you've saved your map note, you might want to change the symbol, then click OK. Now I want to save the map. You might want to give the map maybe your name, Padgett, exercise 1 or whatever. Just give it a name that you will recognize later on. Save map. And, there you have it. Your map is now saved. When you go into ArcGIS content, while you're logged in, you'll see your map there. See, mine is David Padgett, exercise 1. So that way you can always go back to that map and there it is. Now, last but certainly not least, you'll want to make this map public. Go to share and then click everyone, scroll down and then hit that done button. See, there's a button down there that says done. Make sure you do that. Hit done. And now you can share this map. And it says here, 2 things. You should paste your screenshot of your controversial site here where it per the instructions. And then the last thing that you will do again is share your map. And you go here, you have a link, copy and paste that link right into the Word document here. And then make that link live, and then somebody, not somebody, the instructor will click on that link and will be able to see your map. So you scroll down, the last part of the assignment, and you go back into the instructions, is to take the quiz. Okay, and so now when you go through this quiz, you will be given several chances to you will be given several chances to pass the quiz. After you finally pass the quiz, let me see how well I can do here. What is following options? Last of making a web map, I'd say save the map. If you are, well, I shouldn't be doing this. Give you the answers. But walk through this quiz, and when you're done, you will be given you'll see a screen that says, congratulations, you passed the quiz. And you simply take a screenshot. I guess it's not exam anymore, it's quiz now. You'll simply take a screenshot of the quiz and then paste your successful pass message in that spot there. And then that'll be it. Again, this is probably not the most intuitive set of directions that you will see. Be patient, start early, work your way through it. Now, again, just a couple of tips. Your main set of instructions are in the Word document itself. The online instructions here will give you a little bit more detail in terms of working through the assignments and getting answers to that quiz. It's going to take a minute before you really get the rhythm of the functionality of this, okay? The first time you do this, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. Like I said, this is a much better exercise to do as a group, led by an instructor, but unfortunately, we don't have that option now. So just be patient, take your time, but the key is to get started early. This is not something that you can wait to the last minute to start. If you have access to me, if you're one of my students, please, by all means, ask questions often as you work through this assignment. Don't get hung up on the instructions, or you might be able to consult your instructor to be able to navigate through this. So again, this is probably your first introduction to geographic information systems. Pay close attention to the vocabulary because I'm quite sure that at some point in time, those vocabulary words will show up on an actual course exam that will count. Okay, so I'm Dr. David A. Padgett. If you want to get in touch with me, the easiest way is at tsugislab@gmail.com. That's TSU, like Tennessee State University, GISLAB, tsugislab@gmail.com. And that it's regardless of where you are attending class. You can send me a message at that email address, and I will help you and perhaps help your course instructor. So thank you very much, and good luck with this assignment.